Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's me, that boy, and welcome to a part 2. That is a part 2 to a video that is a part 1 that was originally a part 0, but now it's officially part 1. Welcome to part 2. A couple weeks ago, I released this video right here. I said if we passed a certain amount of likes, there would be a part 2, and guess what? We passed a certain amount of likes, actually, like the day after I put it out. So this part 2 has been a little bit delayed, but it's finally here. In today's video, we're going to take a look at 3 more simple 1.16 farms. If you didn't check out part 1, you should definitely check it out either right now or right after this video. There's some really useful farms there. If you'd like to see a part 3 to this video, hit that like button. If we pass 13k likes, there will be a part 3. Remember to subscribe, notification bell as well, and let's go. My middle name is Real. Waddles, Real, Waddles. That's right. I have to keep it real with you. Farm number 1 is a little bit less of a farm and more of an exploit, or not even one, just a survival trick. But at the same time, you could definitely consider this one a farm. Now, right now, I'm surrounded by a bunch of soul campfires. This farm actually involves normal campfires. Why did I put soul campfires here? Well, because they're cool. They're blue looking. If you're planning on staying in the nether long term, maybe even starting in the nether for a different challenge like I did in nether survival, this is the trick for you. Farm number 1 is a charcoal farm. To get this farm up and running, you will need almost no materials at all, and once you have this thing going, you'll be able to get a bunch of charcoal super easily. Let's talk materials. What do you need to make this charcoal farm? Well, these are the materials right here. To make this charcoal generator, you'll need a lot of sticks and some nether wood. Now, technically, the overworld wood would work, but this is nether update farm, so forget about the overworld wood. You'll also need at least 1 coal to get this thing going. Now, this video is nether farm, so coal. Where are we going to get coal from in the nether? Well, that's actually pretty easy. All you're going to need to do is find a nether fortress and then find some wither skeletons. Take those wither skeletons out, and hopefully, if you're lucky, you'll get some coal. Coal is a pretty common wither skeleton drop, so you shouldn't have to do this for too long. It should be pretty easy to get your hands on. After you've got the coal down, head over to a warped forest or a crimson forest and start cutting down these weird tree things. Once you've cut down a lot of these weird tree things, you're pretty much good to go. So the farm, how does it work and how do we set it up? Well, to set this thing up, you're going to need a crafting table. Go ahead and slide into the crafting table and build a single campfire. That's all you need to get this thing going. Place the campfire down, then break the campfire. Once you break the campfire, you'll get 2 charcoal. Go back into the crafting table and do it again. Make a single campfire, or maybe even make 2 campfires this time. Place them down and break them again. Every single time you break a campfire, you'll get 2 charcoal. If you keep doing this over and over and over again, you're going to continue to grow the amount of charcoal that you have. What could you use this charcoal for? Well, smelting things up. Again, if you're doing any type of nether survival, fuel is probably going to be a challenge, at least at first, until you have good enough gear to take on a nether fortress and set up a blaze farm. Though not the biggest thing in the world, this is a nice little trick to know, especially for people who are early on in their worlds. I learned this one from a commenter, so big shout out to whoever commented this on a nether survival episode. It's a pretty cool life hack or simple farm to know about. Do this for a little while and you'll have charcoal for days. Moving on to farm number 2. Farm number 2 is all about one of the 2 really cool nether vines. This farm right here is a weeping vine farm. Set this thing up in your world and it will automatically run and harvest weeping vine for you. Check it after a little while and you should have some weeping vines. If you're trying to use these things in a build, this is the farm for you. Now, you can speed this thing up if you have bone meal. Go ahead and open the farm up, bone meal the weeping vine, and the thing is going to grow over and over again and the farm is sped up. But to be clear, you don't have to do this. You could let this thing run naturally. It's just going to be a little bit slower. This farm is super compact and easy to build. It is also expandable, but I don't really need to say anything else about this farm. If you want weeping vines, this is the thing for you. Now let's talk materials. To build this farm, you are going to need these things in exact amounts right here. Now, if you plan on using this thing semi-automatically, you're going to want to have 1 less building block and 1 more trapdoor in here. Any trapdoor type will work. You'll also want to have a good amount of bone meal, but that is entirely optional. Again, you can set this thing up and it will run on its own, entirely automatically. Now this farm is super simple to build. Start by finding a spot to build the farm. The spot can be anywhere, any biome, any dimension. You can build this in the overworld or in the nether. After that, place a chest down. Then place a hopper going into that chest. This is the collection system. The hopper will pick up all of the weeping vines and put it into the chest for us to pick up later. After that, we're going to need to place a temporary block, and then behind the temporary block, place an observer going into it. Now technically, the observer could be on the left or the right, doesn't really matter, but I think this looks a little bit nicer. On top of that observer, you're going to want a piston. Then on top of that, you're going to want a permanent building block. Any kind of building block will work. Now back here, right behind the observer, another building block, and on top of that block, your redstone dust. That's the only redstone dust in this build. Now, we're actually almost done with this build. Place a temporary block and then a permanent block right there. Remove the temporary block if you'd like, and plant a weeping vine on the bottom of that block right there. Then go ahead and finish this thing off by placing more building blocks all the way around this thing. Now, personally, I think glass would probably look a little bit better than the quartz right here, and if we were to place things like this wouldn't be able to open. To get around that, easy. Grab a stair or a slab and place it down there, or just place a glass block. If you place a glass block right above this chest, you'll be able to open it. Alternatively, if you want this thing even smaller, you could use trapdoors like what I did over here. Speaking of trapdoors, if you'd like to set this farm up for semi-automatic use, replace one of these top blocks with a trapdoor just like that. You can open and close the trapdoor whenever you're ready to use the farm. Let's say we wanted to use this thing, we'd open the trapdoor, walk up to it with bone meal, and start bone mealing this weeping vine. Sometimes you'll need to use 2 bone meal, other times you'll need to use 1. Now keep in mind that when weeping vines are harvested, unfortunately, a weeping vine doesn't always drop. There's unfortunately no way around that. It's just kind of how it works. It's a little bit of a bummer. Also know that if you're using this farm in semi-automatic fashion and you have this open trapdoor, sometimes the weeping vines will be thrown out of this farm. If you're using this semi-automatically though, you're probably paying attention, so you could easily walk around and pick up the weeping vines. If you don't like that, maybe try standing closer to that top hole, like on top of the trapdoor, and then placing blocks around you so the weeping vines aren't thrown too far off. Now like I mentioned, this farm is definitely expandable. Expanding this farm is very, very easy. All you're going to want to do is basically repeat this over and over and over again next to each other. So we take this wall out, we take another observer, we'd place it right here, and so on. Pretty much copy the whole build that we just did. But doing a bunch of hoppers could get expensive, so there's an easier way. Take the hopper out, place a minecart line right below your harvesting area, and then place a minecart with a hopper. This thing will go back and forth and pick up all of the weeping vines, including any weeping vines sitting on the track. If we have a weeping vine right there and this moves over it, it's going to pick up that weeping vine. So you actually don't need to place a floor in between the weeping vines and the minecart. That makes things even easier. Now, of course, you are going to want to make this minecart run continually. How do you do that? You place a powered rail on either end, bouncing off of a wall. So basically that means we're talking something like this. We have a wall block with a powered rail and a wall block with a powered rail. This minecart will bounce back and forth and pick up everything continuously forever, as long as it's loaded in. Somewhere in here you'll want to place a hopper below the rail line and then a chest that hopper goes into. That'll be for collecting all of your drops. Now obviously this is not a fully complete expanded version of this farm. You're gonna have to just imagine it, but that is farm number 2, a weeping vine farm. Farm number 3 is probably the most useful farm out of the 3 farms that we've taken a look at today. The third farm in today's video will be shown off right after you hit that like button. The third and final farm for today's video is a super simple gold farm. Now to check this one out, we're actually over in my Nether survival world. This is an old backup of this world. It's from honestly, probably 5 episodes ago. This is the farm right here. This gold farm is not only super easy to set up, but it's also super simple to use. So, check this out. Here's how to use this thing. We'll go ahead and open these trapdoors and go out here and hit one of these zombified piglins. This is the scary part. After you hit one, you're going to want to run quickly back to this hiding hole and open those trapdoors. All of the zombified piglins in the nearby area are going to swarm. They're going to run over to you and actually fall down into this hole. You see, we've tricked them with the trapdoors. It's very, very evil. Now to continually lure zombified piglin in this area over here, all we're gonna need to do is get them to look at us. Now, if you don't have any gold armor on, like me, your boy right here, then piglin will be attracted over to this thing as well. But don't worry, because of how we're gonna build this thing, we won't have to deal with any angry piglin at all. We won't harm a single piglin. Well, we won't. So use this thing for a little while and get a bunch of zombified piglin down inside of it. Then go ahead and go down to the lower portion of this farm and take out all of the zombified piglin and then collect your profit. Now, if you have a looting 3 sword with this thing, oh boy, you're gonna get a lot of loot. If you don't happen to have a looting sword quite yet, well, don't worry, it's not that big of a deal. You'll still get quite a bit of gold drops and tons of rotten flesh as well. Alright, so I went ahead and used this thing and emptied it out. Let's check out our yields and then we'll talk about building this farm. From that short run right there, this is what we got. We have 12 gold nuggets, 8 rotten flesh, and then a couple golden swords. Now, that was all without looting and with very minimal effort. This thing is so easy to build. One more little disclaimer before you build this farm. This gold farm is a simple gold farm. I didn't say good. I said simple. This farm is definitely more for those fresh start early on worlds. Anyways, gold farm materials. These things right here are what you're going to need to get your hands on to build this farm. You're also going to need a few pickaxes. So, 6 trapdoors any type, 6 magma blocks, at least 1 fence gate, and at least 1 door. You're also probably going to want to have a handful of building blocks, a handful of fences, and some slabs on hand as well. This is a gold farm. Gold farms typically work off of zombified piglins. That means the location is going to be very important when building this farm. This gold farm needs to be built in a nether waste biome. We are currently in the nether waste biome. The nether waste biome looks like this. Very plain, very boring. Now ideally, you're going to want to build this gold farm in a nether waste biome that is near a lava ocean. If your nether waste biome happens to be in the middle of a bunch of other biomes, then you're going to have to share the spawn cap with the other mobs that are spawning in those biomes. If you have a lava ocean, well, other hostile mobs like piglins don't spawn in the lava ocean. Lava ocean, good. For example, in my nether survival world, this is where I built the gold farm. It is actually right next to a lava ocean. Now, as you can see over here, there is a soul sand valley, so technically this isn't the ideal location, but with the farm built in this spot right here, I've actually had pretty decent luck and pretty good rates with this farm. I mean, take a look at all these zombified piglin over here. This is perfect. Now, since this is just an example, this spot right here will do just fine, but technically, in an ideal world, this is not the best location at all. Anyways, the build. Start by finding your build site. After you've found the build site, you have 2 options. Option number 1, find a wall. Something like this right here. This would do perfect. Option number 2, build a small room. The small room could be something like 6 by 6. That would probably be more than enough. Outside of that room, near the entrance, wherever it will be, you're going to want to dig down into the ground. Dig down 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. You're going to want to end up with a hole that is 3 blocks long, 2 blocks wide, and 3 blocks deep. Something just like this. Now, our room is going to be inside of this wall right here. So we're going to go ahead and clear out a little bit of space for us to stand in. How much space? Again, it doesn't really matter. I think I'm going to go with something like, maybe we'll go 3 blocks deep and then a couple blocks long. Something like this right here. The important part is this door right here. This door is going to keep piglin from getting into us in case anything bad happens. Now remember, depending on your difficulty setting, zombified piglin may be able to break down your door. So, if you don't want that happening ever, make that door an iron door. Iron doors are indestructible by these creatures. So place the door going into your room next to the hole on the center. Then place some trapdoors above this hole. The trapdoors should go all the way above this hole, so something like this. You should need 6 trapdoors. Then go ahead and open all of those trapdoors. Now jump down into the hole and replace the floor with magma blocks. Piglins don't like magma blocks, they actually hurt them. That means this magma block floor will clear all piglin from this thing for you. If you don't mind hurting piglin, then you can skip the magma blocks. Now down low, underneath your top room, you're going to want to dig a bottom room. This bottom room will be where you go to take out the zombified piglin. This bottom room definitely could be smaller. You'll want to build a way down to this bottom room from your top room, so something just like this, the staircase will do. Now to make sure we can actually take out the zombified piglins, we're going to place a slab right here and a slab right there. Placing the slabs like this leaves this tiny gap right here and this gap right here. We'll be able to swing at the piglins from this gap or this gap right here, but the slabs will stop the baby zombified piglins from getting into here. To make our life a little bit easier, we could dig down right here and actually swing at the piglins' feet. This is what I would recommend doing right here. You could even remove this block right here and move even closer if you'd like to, but I like this spot. This is probably fine. Now we're going to need a way to actually pick up the loot from this farm. The easiest way is a fence gate. We could do something like this right here, and then boom, we'd be able to get in and pick up our loot once we're done using it. But that doesn't look very good, so what I would do is dig a hallway over this way, and then over here, and then right here, and place a fence gate over here. To pick up the loot, now we just walk over here, walk in here, crouch, and pick up all of the drops. That's good. Now, if you're worried about piglins falling in on you, no big deal. You could close all of the trapdoors before you move into this room, then move into here, pick up all of the drops, and then move out, and of course, reopen all of the trapdoors. The final thing that you're going to want to do on this build is make sure this room is safe. So place some building blocks here, and then maybe some fences or walls right here. If you have a gap like this, you'll be able to see the zombified piglin that are outside, and they'll be able to see you. If one of them can see you, that'll aggro all of the other piglins in this area, and they'll all run over to you and try and get you. They'll be tricked by the trapdoors, and they'll fall into this trap right here, and then whenever you're ready to take them out, move down here with a sword and take them out. Again, if you have looting 3, your rates are definitely going to be better. If you're planning on using this thing more long-term, I recommend building it out of blocks that are indestructible by gas, so things like blackstone and basalt. Gas fireballs cannot blow these blocks up. You could also spend some more time and make sure this build actually looks nice too. This build over here, in my opinion, I think this looks pretty clean. I think it looks pretty nice. Now in here, in the killing chamber, I've done things a little bit differently. My slab layout is kind of different, but it'll still work. Also, I place slabs on the floor. If you place slabs on the floor, no zombified piglins will be able to spawn inside of your room. That goes for other mobs like piglins as well. You might want to do this if your room is a little bit bigger, but if it's a small space and you're going to be in it the whole time, it's no big deal. You can skip that step. Mobs don't spawn right next to you. And then again, whenever you're ready to use this thing, open the door, come out here, and hit a zombified piglin. If you have a bow, stay inside of your base and just shoot one. Quickly make your way back over to your base, and then realize that there are zombies in here ruining your base. How did that happen? I don't know. That's definitely obnoxious. Anyway, stand by your front door so the zombified piglin can see you, and they'll be attracted over to you. Give it some time, and you'll get a bunch of zombified piglin in this lower chamber. Then go down low and take them out. And that right there is one of the simplest gold farms that you can build in all of Minecraft. It's not the best thing in the world, but it will provide you with at least a little bit of gold. Maybe you'll get really lucky, and with the gold that you get from this farm, you end up getting something really, really good by bartering with piglins. Who knows? And so, if you've been keeping track, that has been 3 more simple 1.16 plus farms. What do you think? Which farm is your favorite? Which one are you going to build right away? Let me know down in the comments below. Remember, if you want to see a part 3, hit that like button. 13k likes is the goal. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you change that today. You won't regret it, I promise. Down in the description are links to all of my things, like my Discord server, my Twitter, and my Instagram. Make sure you check them out, and until next time, stay fresh, gamers. It's been me, your boy. Goodbye.